So,
There we go. All right, you're all being recorded.
okay. I'd like to start by opening the meeting and approval of the minutes from the January 12th meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Okay, Brooke has to roll call, Brooke.
Okay. Mr. Origi?
Yeah. We're in.
Okay, you're voting yes on the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Campbell, are you still with us? Mr. Campbell, you're muted.
Yes.
Gina, Miss Guasconi,
Yes.
and Mr. Flaherty,
Yes.
unanimous. Okay, golf course update, Charlie.
Okay, well, I guess we have some new business to talk to, but probably should wait to new business regarding the golf course. Would that be sufficient, Mr. Flaherty?
Sure.
Charlie, can you I agree it should be new business, but can you just give like the regular update you give, like if it's good rounds, if it.
Well, there hasn't been any rounds because of the snow, but up until that point, we had done very well every single month since the new fiscal year. However, with the weather, we're not open for business. There hasn't been any since, I don't know, what are we talking, mid-January? So that's kind of, nothing's going on really with that.
Okay, good. I made the mistake the other night. I asked Mike when he told me he was golfing, not thinking I had just shoveled all this snow and we had all that ice. When he said he was golfing, I asked him where, thinking it was up here, forgetting he was down south.
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I mean, there is some news on what's happening up there. Like I said, whether you want me to start in on it now or want to get to other things.
But
I'll
you know
leave
what?
it for new business.
Hey, Charlie, you know what? Let's just talk about it for a sec. Okay, because it may take a little time, won't it, Charlie?
Well, that's what I'm saying. You might want to take other things and get them over with.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
great.
That way it'll
Okay.
give you a chance to finish your meal. So I don't have to sit there and drool.
All right.
So why don't we jump?
We have any, getting into old business. What's the story with the pickleball courts? Are they pretty much done, Charlie?
Yeah, they're pretty much done. I had a discussion with the town manager about the springtime after I am done here, but there are some things that we want to do. I'm in the process now of putting together a plan for the finalizing. I talked to Mr. Campbell a little bit about it and what we'd like to see down there as far as some privacy screens or wind screens, some picnic tables, possibly the pavilion. So I'm trying to get some pricing on that with the money we have left from the community preservation funds, as well as money that we had from capital. So
Great.
I've worked it out with the town manager that in the spring, I'll be back to finalize that project. So, and there's a couple other things that I want to get done. So we have an arrangement so that I can be involved in that at in the springtime. So,
Great.
yeah. And in the meantime, we're going to meet, I guess, next week, you said, with a group. So, unless Jim knows any more than I do, that's a good thing. So you guys can start planning on how you want to go about that.
Hey, Charlie,
Charlie,
have you heard
Can
anything
you,
that the
I
council on
know
aging? Have you heard anything that the council on aging wants to take it over?
No, I think
That
that
Emily wants it?
I don't think they actually want to take it over. I just think it was some words that people might have talked about. But Jim and I went to a meeting with her And, you know, we talked about it, but I haven't heard anything within the town about them wanting to run the show.
Okay.
So, but I think Jim can probably add to that. You agree with me, Jim? Have you heard anything?
Well, it's just a whole bunch of different people want to do a whole bunch of different things. And they asked to meet at our next meeting, right?
Right,
So, you know,
right. I believe they have a volunteer that Emily was telling me the other day. They have a volunteer who is willing to just oversee.
Well, that was one of the things that was discussed with me. She called me about a save volunteer. And
Right,
I know the person, and I wholeheartedly agree and asked her to go forward with that, and that I would present that to you guys,
right.
who is it?
Okay.
you know, and then you could meet with her. It would really take, Jim, the main thing that we had talked about before was if he's able to work a few hours a day or whatever, that person could be the volunteer that goes down there first thing in the morning and opens it up. He is a pickleball player, so he knows the game and everything. So that would ease the logistics, at least in the beginning, about having somebody unlocking the shed, things along that nature.
Who is it?
Russ Ventura.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think he'd be good.
Well, it also doesn't affect our budget
Right.
because he is a save volunteer, but he's
Mhm.
under our direction anyway.
Yeah.
So we can talk about that later.
Agenda.
Right.
Russ-
Can I
needs to
Can
be
I
a
just,
tennis pro.
Charlie, while we're on the pickleball courts, I know I had left you a message and I apologize. I didn't follow up with any email for it. But community preservation needs just a report, and the project report.
It just goes out all the time.
Okay, if you can write something up, maybe put in a couple pictures, send it to me for CPC.
Yep.
Okay, and
I'll meet with
also-
Ms. Condon on that and we'll get together. Because she's got to
Okay,
come
and
down to the office
also-
anyway, so we'll do it all the same day.
Okay, good. The other thing is per the CPA funding, there has to be a sign up there that just says it was funded by, partially funded in conjunction with community preservation.
Yeah, and that will be on the sign that we put up there. So that's
Okay.
another thing that Jim's got to get along with me on and finalize that, what we want to put up there, and that can be ordered. So that's another thing. It won't go
Okay.
up until the spring, you know, when
Right.
everything's all fine tuned, but
Okay,
okay, we'll make sure of that.
okay, thanks. I just know CPC is gonna ask about it, so,
Sure.
okay, thanks.
Is there
Yep.
anything to do with Marathon Park? Charlie, any update on that?
The update was that most of the equipment had been fixed and ripped out and the new stuff put back in. Some benches were moved for better placement. The last time before the snow hit, they had brought in some engineered wood fiber, which you could refer to them as wood chips. And they were spread with a machine. They had not been fine tuned as far as with rakes or hand rakes, but and they were waiting for, I want to say there were two small pieces of equipment that did not fit right, and they reordered them but it's not a safety hazard. So I had talked to Sean Mayer, and we talked about it, and he said, you know, people are going in there anyway, so it wasn't not a safety issue. So on the good days before we had the big storm, people were using it, but they are going to fine tune it, and you know, it should be fine come springtime. We're also
Great.
looking into paving the front portion of it for the American Disabilities Act that we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
And he was in the process of getting some figures for that. And we discussed, and he had also had a discussion with Mr. Dutton about future funding. So the money that we have there now, if we don't use it for this, we'll carry it forward because it's a capital amount, and we'll use it. You guys can use it in the fall for if you need more wood chips or anything like that. So,
Great.
and that's something that I believe Mr. Dutton is aware that they're going to have to put in the budget on a yearly basis or a consistent basis.
For a little maintenance.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Other than that, that whole area is, like I said, that'll probably get done in the spring. They also talked about maybe trying to do something with the parking lot. It's in pretty tough shape there, if you want to call it a parking lot. Whether that means bringing in a couple more loads of material and spreading it, I think that's something that they wanted to see done too, because there's a tremendous amount of potholes and that stuff. That's what happens. It just gets beat up.
Yeah.
So that's something to look forward to in the
Now,
spring.
do you do that annually at the golf course too, Charlie? Fill in holes?
Well, we try to.
Yeah,
know,
it doesn't
but,
work.
It's tough.
As soon as it rains, the hole you fill gets muddy, car drives over it and pushes it to the side.
Yeah, I mean, we did that over a couple of years ago. Where the guy, they did pretty much a reconstruction, dug up about 8 inches deep, regraded it, rolled it, and it was great for a while. It all depends what kind of material you put back in. Even if you use a good reprocess, some of the stuff we used to use never would grab, like on the golf course in certain areas. But this was working pretty good. And I know before this big storm, Tommy and Jimmy were over there and they had filled in some of the holes and graded them. And then this last big storm, the day after the storm, Tommy was in a big Caterpillar, and Jimmy in his truck and myself in my truck, and we plowed 99% of the parking lot, which was a lot of snow. And that kind of, because the ground was frozen, it kind of helped a little bit with the grading of it. If it had been a wet
Mushy, yeah.
snow, and if the parking lot had not been frozen, we probably would have done some damage to it,
Right.
because you just can't drop your blade on that stuff when it's soft. You go about 5 feet and you're digging up stuff. So we were pretty good about that, and the remnants of it wasn't bad. So that's going to have to be an upkeep for them up there, all the time.
Unless they pave it.
Yeah, well,
What
we'll
do you
see
have,
what happens down the line.
what would that cost to pave? 50 grand?
No, more
What?
than that.
You're talking
Really?
$500,000 probably. Anyway,
Is that right?
because you got to put in drainage.
Oh, Jesus.
When long time ago, when we were going to do the big clubhouse, they had a whole full sewer and not sewer, but drainage plan that was done back in 2001, 2, somewhere around there. And that included all sorts of, when you have that big of an area of asphalt, you can't just let it run off.
Oh,
You have to have, I'm not going to say holding tanks, but you do have to have areas where riprap and all that kind of stuff goes. So, yeah. So we mentioned that over the last few years about that. And, that's
I
going
guess-
to be a decision down the line.
Captains went ahead and put in the solar panels, the carports, and they
Yep.
get 8,000 a year.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it covers all their power,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe
Yeah.
we should acquaint the town manager with that
Well,
in a
I
nice
don't know
way.
about that.
Oh, it would pay for itself and make some money to pay for the parking lot. That'd be a good deal.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
gave it to the energy committee, and I gave them all the information about an insurance company in Canton that did their parking lot. I gave them the guy's name in Quincy that did it with all this stuff, and nothing came up about it. So
Yeah,
We
the
also-
last time I talked to Carlton, we were supposed to have a wind turbine up there that was gonna handle enough power for the cart barn. So that was supposed to happen pretty quick. I don't know whatever happened to that, but that was supposed to happen this fall.
Carlton's probably another project.
Mhm.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Um,
he had told me a while back, Charlie, that they were working on that. And the same thing you just said, that it would be done.
Yep. This
All right,
takes time.
do we want to move on to the superintendent search? How is that going?
Well, I will tell you about a meeting I had with the town manager and.
When was this, Charlie?
What's that?
Was this with all the people from the
No.
golf course? No?
No, this was just a meeting between myself, the town manager and the assistant town manager. And
Who
that
was
was
the
last,
assistant?
that was a week ago, Monday. And they
Assistant or the,
obviously have, what was that?
was it the confidential assistant or the other one?
The
It
new
was
one,
Kim Williams.
I couldn't hear that.
I asked, who was the confidential assistant or the other one?
No,
They just hired one, right?
Oh, I had the same question on my lips right now.
I just didn't know which one it was, that's all.
the that was just hired Liz because the superintendent meeting was with Mr. Dutton and Miss Williams.
Oh, okay.
So we had, we talked about it and they asked me if I'd like to stay on an extra month because the position has not been even posted yet. And I informed them that I would not, but that I would be willing to work out an arrangement with them that allowed me to be at their mercy for an hour here and there, whatever was necessary to accomplish things. And especially in the spring when the new person would have to be involved in opening up irrigation things, all the different fields and just a lot of stuff that's in the ground that needs to be known about. So I did tell them that I'd be willing to, be available at some point. And so we had a nice discussion about that. They did not get into really anything. I was not privy to your meetings with him, so that none of that was issued. We just talked about that hopefully they were going to get it out very soon. And I think other things took place that they're kind of maybe thinking about now that did take place, which we'll get to later. But that's the way it stands right now. And I do not want to continue longer in, a full-time position. So I am done on the 2nd, and then we'll revisit whenever that other person gets hired and we'll go from there.
Mhm. Charlie, did they show you the job description?
We didn't go over anything in the job description
Okay,
because it hadn't been finalized yet. It was still getting input
Who
from you guys.
finalizes, Charlie, who finalizes the job description? Is it
Well,
an ad hoc committee like us that puts things into Dutton's head? Or is it?
No, I think they had 90% of it, and I think they took more input from you guys.
Yeah, but then they
and-
canceled it. They canceled it on us. What we asked to be in there, they didn't pay attention to.
Well,
right.
that-
Mike sent another letter after we saw the town's version. Mike sent another letter with our comments on it.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's not gonna discuss that with me. Because that's with you guys and what you want in the new position or whatever. So I don't know where it stands. All I know is that it's not.
From
been
the letter
posted.
that I sent, we asked for a couple of things, and from the correspondence with him, they're not gonna take those into consideration in the job description for fulfilling your position.
You
Now,
give me a reason.
they have that right, they can just do that? With it?
No, I'm
I
quite
thought
sure
we
they
were
can.
like an ad hoc advisory committee.
Well, you hit the word, you said advise. They don't have to take your advice.
Okay.
Obviously.
All right,
No, I'm serious when
No,
I
they
say
didn't.
that.
They did, they
It
don't.
appears
It's,
that they can pretty much do what they want, when they want. And, you know, it's up to you guys to decide how you want to follow that up. But I know it has not been posted yet, internally nor externally. So maybe they're still debating. I don't know.
yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, I actually thought, Mike, that's why when the town manager called you the other day, I thought that's what he was gonna talk about, not the other thing, but maybe there's still hope that he'll go over it if it hasn't been posted yet.
yeah, well,
Charlie.
he told me right out on the phone call that he wasn't going to, put the new recreation director responsible for the golf course at all.
Okay, and I
That's
I
awful.
understand that, but one of the other things that we had requested in that letter was to have it was more reference to Parks and Recreation, not just the town manager.
Right,
And I think that should be in there. If he wants to pull out the golf course, okay. When we get to that discussion under new business, a few things to talk about on that, but I think that in the job description, it should definitely mention us as Park and Rec much more than it does, which is basically nothing. Just
Hey,
my
Chuck,
thought.
Charlie, when's your last day? The
The
second?
2nd of March, at this date, it's the 2nd of March. It might be earlier than that.
Wow.
That is my official date.
what are they gonna fire you? I'd
That
hire
is
you
my
in a minute.
official date.
Charlie, what are they gonna do? Because the fields, they're not gonna have someone to do the field. Wow.
It all
Is
depends, Tom.
Wilcox still gonna be here?
Yes,
Okay, so he'll be the guy
yeah, no, I'm not worried about any of that. That'll happen. One way or
Okay.
the other, that position will be filled in March. I'm pretty
Your
certain.
position,
Huh?
Charlie?
Yes,
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure of that.
My thing
It
says,
just depends. What, Jim?
my phone says I'm in safe driving mode, so I don't know how we got there from Zoom, but anyway, is this question you might not know the answer to, but I know you know some of it. Is the thing posted in the town first?
Yeah.
Town, can
It's
someone down
called
that,
an internal posting within the union.
right,
So in other words, they
Will
post
it
it
stay
to
on
all
this
the
now?
different unions in town that,
Right.
you know, asking that they put the job description in there and they
Yeah.
do it as a courtesy for 2 or 3 days or whatever.
okay. And then does the town people that are in the union have priority, do you know?
I believe they do.
Okay, thank you.
If, the only thing I could say is you would have priority if you're a qualified candidate for that.
Mhm.
Correct.
And
My-
they deem it, you know, for various reasons, I imagine, you know. If the chief of police that's making a tremendous amount of money, right? As a chief would like my position at probably less than half. I don't think they would look at that as a good thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I would think that, you know,
I-
so
I-
anyway, it's like a joke. It was meant to be a joke. Nothing, no disrespect for the police chief, but I'm just
No, he
saying,
does a great job at what he does.
of course. So my
Yeah.
point is, they would look at any person within the union. No, I don't expect anyone, to be honest with you. I shouldn't say that, but
Yeah.
Right now, anyway.
Gotcha.
Have you heard any interest, Charlie, from anyone like who's outside the town? Mention names,
Probably
just
should mention that in the,
Yes, yes.
all right?
What's
Okay.
that?
I was just wondering, we should discuss people in the meeting that might want the job, no?
No, I'm not.
no.
There
I
is
said don't. I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
don't mention anyone's name because
Oh,
I don't want.
I'm good.
No, but there is interest. I know of interest.
Okay,
That's all. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying, one way or the other, I would certainly think, you know, at least by the end of March, before the spring, the good weather comes, there'll be somebody in my seat.
Charlie,
good.
holy cow. You've been part of the rec for how many years? When you were a member?
28. No, I was never a member. I was not on the board. Remember that. Now you must bring that up every time we talk. Thank you.
I thought you were.
No,
Yeah.
I did not. Yeah, thank you too, Gina. Yeah. Anything else? Let's go on to new business. Thanks,
I think-
Tom.
I think it was your campaign manager.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Mhm.
Oh, God.
Okay, do we have any new business here, guys? And girl?
Are we done with that? We done with all the other stuff?
Yeah, I think
Well,
so.
no, we
No.
have,
Go back.
yeah, annual reports.
What did you
and
say, Brooke?
You're gonna cite after you do annual reports, you're gonna cycle back to the golf course,
Okay, yeah.
right?
Right.
Agreed on.
Is there anyone in public comments?
No, she had to go. She wanted to have it taken out of order, but I was gonna bring it up like now when you were finished with one topic, but she had another meeting at 7:30 and had to leave.
Was
She's
there
going to
anything in
email me.
particular? Anything in
She-
particular?
She didn't leave, she didn't tell me, but she said she's
Okay.
gonna email me, so I'll let you know. I'll let
Okay,
you
Okay.
know.
Okay, good. Yeah, because we didn't know what to take out of order unless you wanted public comments
No.
out of order. On annual reports, Brooke and Charlie, I have a question. I read the two reports and I don't understand why they're broken up. To me, it looks like the same thing.
Brooke can explain that.
Well, yeah, if they look like the same thing, then that's on me for being a bad writer.
No, that's not my point.
Marilee found a couple years ago now, there's a different way to do annual reports. I argue that you guys are too small to have like a department and a commission. You're kind of one and the same thing. You work so closely together. But Charlie has to submit a report as the superintendent, and you have to submit a report as the commissioners. And when you don't do it, Marilee does it herself. So I always try to give you
One
something.
of the, I'm sorry, one of the things that she has mentioned, just to me in passing one time was she thinks that Parks and Rec should be a department, like water and sewer has a department that has we have an office, but other than Brooke, we don't, and Charlie, we don't have an admin that mans the office, a woman's the office. She's mentioned that she thinks we should be a department, so that might be what she's getting out with the report is two things.
I can send you all the breakdown of how it is supposed to be. Water and sewer has a whole water and sewer plant that they run that's separate from their office. I don't know. It's when I look it up, a lot of the smaller ones seem to only do one, but this one's broken into two. It gives Charlie a chance to say adios if he wants to.
Mhm.
I don't believe it should be in two. I think one should be sufficient.
Okay,
But-
we always
What do I
do
got to
one
say
in the
about this?
past. Did we always do one in the past, Charlie? I think we did, didn't we?
Years
A
ago,
lot of years.
and then it gets rewritten, just so you know.
By Marilee?
Yes.
Why?
Or the person, she has a person that does the town report stuff.
Why was she?
Because
Whatever.
that's the way they want it. They want it in with the commissioner saying one thing and Charlie saying another.
Okay,
Can we write to her and say that as a commission, we feel it should just be one because we don't per se have a department?
if you want.
Any thoughts from the rest of you?
I agree. I don't understand why they do it. Why she thinks it's two different departments. Well, again, it's already separating and dividing. They're separating us from the golf course. They're separating us from Charlie or the next person in line. They just keep separating us. So we're just going to be
Ad hoc committee.
ad hoc. That's all we're going to be. It's not even going to be, from what we were to what we are. It's just been just decaying.
Mhm.
Take the
It seems that the town government now gives all of the power to the town administrator and his assistant. And very little input is taken from any of these committees. There's 1,000 committees. Citizens Advisory, the chairman of that just resigned last week because no one meets anymore. And there's he made a whole list of water and sewer hasn't met in a year. All these other committees, they haven't met for a good year. So what keeps the interest of the people that are volunteering their time? All the decisions have been made by the town manager.
Mhm.
Good point.
But
Yeah.
if you look at the charter, the stuff I sent you out to read, that's not what the charter says.
That's exactly right. We are supposed to be equally responsible for decisions at the golf course, according to the
Yep,
charter.
and all of Parks and Rec.
Right. And it just doesn't seem like the town manager and his assistant are even asking us for any input hardly. What we
Well, they're-
give them, they knock out of the description for Charlie. It's a new job.
Mhm.
It's very frustrating. How can you keep committees together that don't meet and don't have any responsibility? Once they give information to the town manager, he just disregards it and just does what like a dictator.
I think that to a point, that's the power that the charter gives him. And I stick to the phrase "to a point"
Oh, it's
because
the rewrites of it, you mean, not the one that was voted on at the town meeting. The one when they redid the town codes.
okay, the
Because
town,
that wasn't the town meeting one that we all voted on.
right?
Do you honestly, I know we're not talking about the golf course, but do you think anyone in this town could conceive of the fact that none of the town council has to even know about switching the golf course over to a private company? Do you actually think people thought that they could do that without even
Well,
a vote to the council? You think that's day-to-day operation?
See, that was gonna be my question for what the council.
Well, we can talk about that end of it later.
Right. Well,
okay,
I'm just, that's why we brought up that thing. I'm just saying, if you want to write 2 reports, you can take the opportunity in one of them to write about how the golf course is doing or something.
Mhm,
Then let her
Um,
change it to whoever she wants to change it to.
mhm. I just, back to the town reports, I just have one thing. When it mentions the pickleball courts and it's thanking the highway department, it's thanking that. I think it should say in there, in both of them, funded by, or partially funded with the assistance of community preservation. Not that I'm tooting the horn of CPC, but I think it should be mentioned in there. And
How about-
also, Charlie, was it last year?
Thought it was.
Oh, I know the pickleball courts, but when was the lighting done? Was that last year or the year before?
The year
Year
before.
before, 2 years
Okay.
now.
Okay,
That was mentioned. I thought you had that in there, Brooke,
I do.
the funding of pickleball courts.
It is.
oh,
Oh.
does it say CPC? Did I miss it?
Yes. The last sentence of the paragraph.
Okay, sorry. I apologize.
You want it in Charlie's report as well, if I do 2 reports?
Yeah.
Okay,
Who do they mention for the pickleball courts? Do they mention the recreation in there?
Well, it's in our report.
It's
It
our
is-
report, yeah.
It's in the Park and Rec report.
Okay. I thought you said Mary Lee Hunt put,
she hasn't rewritten it yet.
She hasn't touched these yet, correct?
Correct. They
Yeah.
were due last week.
Don't
Those-
make me look bad, Brooke, because I haven't finished mine yet either.
Okay. I will send you all, just so you know why there's 2, the email from her explaining it.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, do you want to move on now? Do you want to put this to the next meeting?
Yes, that'd be a good idea.
Get a response? And move on to new business golf course, right? Or
Mhm.
update.
Okay, I assume all of you have heard the news. We were asked to attend a meeting, and when I say we, it was the 4 guys that are full-timers at the golf course. Ed Shockley, who is the mechanic, Tom Rio, assistant superintendent, Jim Small, superintendent, and Chris Anthony from the pro shop side. And we were there, met with at the golf course with Mr. Dutton, Miss Williams, and Mr. Solmonte, who's the finance director. And we were told in a lengthy communication between, each one of them spoke. And then there was a question and answer period and some comments, and it was a very good meeting. It was better than I expected, but we have been informed that they're in final negotiations. They will be going with a management company, and my guess would be the middle of March at the latest. This company is called Indigo, which is a subsidiary of Troon, which is a rather large one. There were 3 people that requested the RFP. 2 of them, this company was graded the best. So of the 3, and they're in negotiations right now with monetary reasons, and I imagine quite a lot of other things. However, within that request, and I believe you people saw that RFP, correct? That went out, or at least you were sent it.
Yes, they were. They did.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yep.
so, yeah, well, those 4 are gonna find out tomorrow what their status will be. I got an email today saying that the company executives will be, I think there's 3 people coming from Indigo. We'll be meeting with them individually, I imagine, to find out and, what they're being offered, I would assume. They will be offered positions. So we debated and we talked and found out the gist of the main reason why they are going with a management company. And to be honest with you, since I got wind of the RFP and all that kind of stuff, 2 months ago, whenever it was, end of October, November, early November, I've tried to think of various ways from both sides of the coin. I was not in favor of this, obviously. I think the basic reasoning is that they just think they're looking down the line, and they just think that they don't want to be in the daily management of the golf course business.
Was that unanimous from all the people that spoke?
Well, Mike, I mean, yes, yeah.
The
I mean-
deck was deck, Mike.
You know, I mean, put it this way. I believe them when they've looked at a lot of different things. One of the issues is the, you know, I don't know if we really want to get into all sorts of stuff here, but I don't know, maybe you do, but
You're
I
basically
just
firing
look
the
at
guys.
it.
You're basically firing the guys that worked there for a lot of years.
Well, there's
That
different ways
doesn't
of
count.
looking at it.
Well,
These guys aren't losing.
as a businessman, it hurts when you lay off people that have been faithful to you for all those years.
No
They,
question about it. There's
Yeah,
absolutely
Kelly,
no question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, they will be offering positions there. There's no question about that. And you can look at a lot of different things, whether it's a public sector. The issue that I had was they've been, you know, 3 of those 4 have been there for 22 years and are vested in a pension, which they will be paid for if they're no longer employees of the town. They will be paid for all their sick time and their vacation pay and all that kind of stuff, but they will no longer be town employees. So that in itself is a serious issue. They understand that. They've offered to help them in any way possible, but the fact that I really believe that they do not want to have or spend the resources to operate or on a daily basis overseeing that operation, and they think that eventually we asked them a lot of different questions about, you know, obviously they took this time because we're at the peak. We've had a really good 1.5 to 2-year run. Our debt service consists of the remaining balance on the clubhouse money that borrowed, that goes till 2027. And that money that they're going to be getting from this company will more than pay for that. And hopefully some of that money would be funneled towards recreation. That was one of the things that was said.
How come it hasn't been funneled to recreation now?
That had no bearing on the situation, Mike. That's, you know, I mean, I'm not sitting there in that kind of a meeting asking that question.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's just, you know, I know how everyone feels. Believe me, there's nothing worse feeling than of all the people that have, and you guys are included, and with the people, especially towards the golf course, with over all the years. Jimmy, Tommy, you were on that board. You know, the time and effort that a lot of people spent to get that course up and running, go through the hard times, the employees themselves, you know, giving more than that's asked of them, and volunteers that helped out, and all that kind of stuff. It was a sad day in my life, I'll tell you right now. And it will be for a long time. And I understand on one side of the coin why they're doing it. I think they think that there's going to be a big recession, and I think they don't ever want to lose that golf course as far as it being a beautiful place. They do not want that to happen. So they think that if that did happen, the town itself would be extremely would struggle in that situation down the line. And we've had those years, we've had that run. And now you get to the point where you're starting to get a retained earnings. You would hope that that would have been one of the reasons to stay at it. That, yeah, you are going to have your ups and downs, but that did not happen. So that's the consensus and that's their decision. And this is going to happen real quick. So tomorrow, like I said, after the email from today, we were told last week that they would be coming this week. Now we know it's tomorrow. And after that, those 4 guys will have a pretty clear understanding of what they'll be offered. Now, I know they'll all be offered jobs. And, you know, from the private sector, they are a management company of golf courses. They know what other people are paid. They know at every golf course what every position pays. And they know that we're probably underpaid from that standpoint, but our benefits are better. Our health insurance is better, things like that. So there's always two sides to the coin. Maybe they'll make more money. Maybe they'll have more people. I don't know. And with Jimmy over in maintenance, maybe some of the money that'll go to his budget will go to a better area of where he could spend it. You know, he might be given more to spend in certain areas. But these guys are, when you say pros, yeah, they manage golf courses. They're bottom line, dollars and cents, and they know how to run golf courses, supposedly, with their reputation. So there's awful lot of negatives, in my opinion, but I'm also a passionate employee of the golf course over the years, and a volunteer in some ways. So, and I know it's like a slap in the face, and I let that be known. But I also, looking down the line, you know, they can't sell the course. Okay, they're never going to sell the golf course. It's going to be a piece of property because it was bought for recreation or conservation. They can't just turn around and, Tommy, you want to buy the golf course, or Jimmy or Mike? They can't do that. So they will oversee that property. If there is a new, let's say, a new well or a new irrigation system to the tune of $2-3 million, they are going to be liable for that on capital. On 90% of the capital improvements, they will be responsible for. So
That is the town, Charlie, right? The
Yeah.
town's gonna be responsible.
Yes, the town. There probably are some give and takes on certain stuff, but something of that nature, like right now, we're getting ready to do the pump house at $220,000. So that's got to be done before we can open irrigation in the spring. That was already included. That was taken out of our money to pay for that. So those big ticket items, you know, in this 5-year contract that they have with this management company, we don't know exactly what we're getting dollar-wise yet. That was not given. They didn't know because they're still in negotiations on the fine. You know, they got to look at a lot of different things. There's leases out there. We have another year to go on 41 of the golf carts, and then we're supposed to get all 84 new ones in a lease. That was the game plan. We don't know what that's happening there. I wasn't privy to that. I'm not privy to the dollar amounts that came in being
Why not?
offered to them. Because according to, they're in negotiations still. They've agreed in principle, okay? Because when you open the RFP, money is the last thing you open. You rate the company, the 3 companies, on a whole matrix that they have, and they rate them. And then when you do that, when you open that and you get that money figure, you don't have to agree to that figure, which I believe is what they basically did, is gone back to this company and say, look, you're that number 1 pick. This is the money. We have a lot of things to talk about. Let's negotiate. And they're allowed to do that.
Okay.
So one of the good things is, you know, there will be a watchdog on this. And who is that watchdog remains to be seen. When I mean that, I mean within the town. So if the finance director is, you know, involved in watching, I'm quite sure they'll be watching pretty good. So how it all works out, I'll probably know a little more tomorrow. With
Now,
the people involved.
does the finance director look over the clubhouse food and beverage too?
They get audited. Yes, his in his contract, they give him information, financial information on what they did for the year.
Who, Barrett's gives it to him?
Yes, to the finance department. Yeah, because
So
they pay.
Is it an honor system or is it a percentage?
Oh, no. The new contract now is a fee, a flat fee, plus a percentage, plus certain things they pay for, like utilities and things like that. But what I'm saying is they're required to turn over financial documents
Okay.
whenever the town asks them for. So
Mhm.
I'm not worried about that end because that's something that's not going to change with the new management company. Barrett has his contract they're gonna work with them. So there's a lot of issues up there that we do stuff on a daily basis as part of overseeing the golf course, simply like plowing, okay? The day after the big storm, we're up there plowing, okay? So when we shoveled off the decks and around the clubhouse entry. So, you know, who's gonna continue that? Is it up, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that still,
Might not get done, Charlie.
it'll get done, because if
Mhm.
Barrett has to function like he did on Tuesday or Wednesday, it's gotta get done. So it's just those are the things that are probably being all finalized right now.
Mhm. I have a couple things, looking at our minutes from the last meeting, when it says Mr. Dutton's okay, that he was, that he said that the RFP had been issued, and he sent us a copy of it, which he did. I had questioned why Parks and Rec, I'm reading from here, reading it on my phone as you guys are on the iPad, so why Parks and Rec was not involved with the RFP, as the course is under the jurisdiction of the commission. Mr. Dutton stated that it had been a discussion, but that did not correct the oversight. So that was like, it was an oversight that we weren't involved. But
Doesn't matter, Gina. You're backing up the wrong tree. That's not gonna solve anything. Let's
I
not
know it's
talk
not
about
gonna
that
solve-
stuff.
I
It
know
doesn't
it's not
matter.
gonna okay, I
I
know
asked-
it's not gonna solve anything. It's a done deal. I think that is, I think it was Tommy that said it before, or Mike, or I don't know, Jimmy, one of them. Basically, we have no function in town. Yeah, it's a done deal, but if you look at the town charter, said it says that Parks and Rec oversees and makes decisions for all the facilities, including the golf course. So-
You
Say that.
Okay, my only opinion on that is, and the reason why I'm saying this, because I don't want us to bog down this meeting. My point is, this has been obvious for the past year or two, or 3 or 4. So what I would do as a board, if you guys are still adamant about that, then you're gonna have to write a letter, whether it goes to the town lawyer, or whether you gotta get some satisfaction about what you actually want and find out what is and what isn't. I asked them at that meeting, do you have to get approval from the town council, meaning the 9 members of the town council, not the lawyer?
Mhm.
And they said no. They can
Okay, that
do
was the
this.
question I had.
Yep, they can do this and they don't need approval. So my point is, when you say, are you guys being slighted? If that's a term I can use.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, you know, you can take that for however way you want to answer it, because it just appears to me, and you're not alone when you talked about this before, whether the town charter is this, right, wrong, whatever, things happen and life goes on. So rather than get all bent out of shape in a meeting, you got to determine what you guys have to do. And if that makes sense, and find out once and for all, what are your duties? What is the rec commission actually responsible for? Because it's obvious to me that all the
We're being
commissions
run
in town
over.
now,
We're run over.
is basically doesn't matter. In a sad way, I'm saying this.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter what you're recommending.
can
It
I say
doesn't matter
something?
what we recommend. It is
Yep.
what they make a management decision in this golf course based on what they think is the best for the future. And whether it's right or wrong, we won't know.
Right, but
I
if
do-
if
It's,
the town manager cites the town charter to our chairman and says that's what the town charter says, but in looking up the town charter, That's not what it says. That's just my issue.
Yeah, but you need a lawyer
You know-
to say, not us. I say
Yeah.
something here?
Yep, go ahead, Jim.
Right, I just want my, get out a little of my regrets here. It's not only are we getting thrown out of the house that we built, we gave them a $4.55 million present that then they don't want us to have anything to do with now. It isn't like we were just working, everything, we got paid and all that stuff. They didn't put a dime into this. We put all the hard work and everything, Charlie and everyone, and now they're just taking it from us. And they're giving it to a company that used to be called Casper Golf, if that's the one they're dealing with, that last year was their first profitable year in Falmouth. So like you
Oh,
say,
that's,
they just don't want it. They just don't, it's Indigo Golf now. They just don't want to deal with the golf course. It's less work for them to do. It's less stuff to do. We can't do it. So just hire someone. They'll send you a check and that'll be it.
Mhm.
Falmouth lost 96,000 the year before last. I think they had to put in
Was that
money
with the
we
same
put-
company,
money-
Jim?
money we put in. I don't know. I am assuming that's what they're doing. Money that we put into the golf course, that they put into the golf course, was put in after they took their $100,000 or whatever. So this has all been on work of other people did, Smalley and them included. And now it's, we'll give it to someone else. So that's it. But I agree with Charlie. If you're gonna get upset about it, you're just gonna make yourself sick. If you think you're right, hire a lawyer. Have the lawyer tell you what your rights are, or what you can say what you want. You can go to court a lot of times, think you're 100% right, and you'll end up losing your shirt. So I don't know if he's right or he's wrong. I know he shouldn't be right, because that wasn't what was the town wanted. But the town don't know what they want now. They don't even know what's going on now.
I agree.
Mhm.
So
Hey,
so
Jimmy,
that's
who
all
was
there is
the,
to it.
hey,
Yeah,
Jim,
I think that,
hey,
that
Jim, wasn't there an attorney, wasn't there someone who handles recreation? And yeah, that could we hire them, and would we need to get donations to hire the guy, or can
No,
we
you'd
go?
ask the town manager, the town council to give you the money.
No,
What?
What good are you gonna get out of that?
Well,
Well,
no,
who has the authority to do whatever?
Right.
The golf course thing is like you said, it's probably gonna be done. Well, you gonna win a monetary award because they wronged you or something? It just ain't gonna happen. I feel really bad. When you talk, these guys have 20-something years. They're not 60 years old with 20 years. They're not 65. They're not
Pensions
gonna
worth
get-
about 20%.
20% of their pay is what they're gonna get, right? So, I mean, after working all these, and these are guys that went down and helped Charlie in the fields, and they did a lot.
no,
And it was like a family.
Preach it to the choir.
And
I
they,
agree.
hey,
Can
Charlie?
they get a job? Can they get a job within the town?
that's what I was just gonna ask.
well, that's another question. We're really talking about the golf course now. And
Yeah.
like you say, there's a lot of things we probably shouldn't, we might have wanted to do executive session for this, if you're
Yeah.
gonna do this stuff, but
Okay, no, okay,
you
I
know what I'm
agree.
saying? I don't know where it's going. We should try our best to do something for them.
No,
Well, I
jeez.
If you
personally,
don't feel bad about coming to a party with a $4.5 million gift and they say, thanks, have a good time. I'm along there.
Mhm. Charlie, do you know if they were offered positions with the town, if they wanted to stick with their retirement and
well, put
benefit?
it this way. Let me just say this. After they find out tomorrow what they're being offered by this company,
Mhm.
I think that within a couple of days, they will have a decision to make. When I say they, might be one, might be two,
Mhm.
but they all will have decisions. Now, the town has said they will help them in any way they possibly can. I'm
Like
just
they
gonna
helped
leave
them
it set
already.
at that. I think after tomorrow, they'll have a better idea individually, and then they can pursue other areas if they'd like. You get
Okay,
what I mean?
I
Yeah.
got you.
yep, I just want to add one thing. I understand what you're saying, Charlie, why you think they went this way. My thought is they went this way, and it's part of the reason that the golf course was pulled out from superintendent's job description. Right now, you did everything, and you did everything, in our opinion, outstandingly. I don't know if that's a word, but you are outstanding in everything, the golf course and the parks and rec park, you know, like other facilities. My thought is that they know they're not going to more than likely get somebody that could do as good of a job. So they're pulling part of the responsibilities out and going with the management company. Just my thought on why it was separate.
Well, I think for the time when this all went down with me being involved up there, it solved a lot of problems for them. And, you know, regardless of monetary payment to me or whatever, they were getting off real cheap. And they know it, and we know it, because I solved the problem for them. And it worked in some ways and it didn't in others, because I didn't have enough time. I really believe that to a fact that, especially the last 3 or 4 years, I think it got too thin, you know, and they need somebody up there on a full-time basis, which would cost them a lot of money. So I think they took that into consideration too, no question. He told us that, he told the guys that. And, you know, then I started feeling like, hey, geez, maybe this wasn't the right time for me to go. But in reality, it is. And I knew that, and I told them that. So, yeah, I was able to get people involved and help out and stuff like that, just like I've always done, because people cared about the town and they cared about things, and a lot of good things happened, a lot of not so good things happened. So I think they're looking at all that, and maybe that they realize that, geez, if we had to hire 1, 2 more people at big money, there it goes. So I think it all came in their minds a perfect storm, that this was the time. We're at the peak. We have 2 really good years, even with COVID, and our numbers are outstanding. And this is the time to go to a management company and get the most you can. Now, how that reacts down the line in this 5-year contract, I don't know. No one knows. But I do believe they're honest in what they said to us, that they do not want that property to go downhill. They will work with this company to make sure that it doesn't. So, you know.
If you remember the first contract they had with the first company that handled everything, right? There
Yeah,
was specific things in it talking about what they had to do to make sure
Yeah.
that nothing happened to the golf course, right?
yeah.
And
We paid them a lot of money over 3 years, Jimmy. 2 point
Yes,
what?
you did.
2.2?
Oh,
Yep.
yes, you did. And the other thing is, I believe it wouldn't have been that hard to write in the contract that the people stayed, or that
Well-
the position paid that much, and for a certain amount of time, if you know, and it just would have been, they just would take less on their end. Say those 4 guys cost 25,000 more a year. You take 25,000 less, right?
Well, that you know, that's probably
I'm
what's
just
going on in
saying, just
negotiations.
get it, you know?
They will be
So-
off jobs. There's no question about that.
Huh?
That was in the stipulation. I think if you read in the RFP that
That it would be
They would-
favored. Right.
that would what?
The company that kept them on would be favored. I think that was all that was in there about that.
But they were adamant in their discussions, according in what they said to us, that
Yeah.
our guys will be offered jobs.
Oh, I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
It's very
And-
difficult for people right now, so I can't imagine them not being hired.
No, the golf course industry is hard to get people right now.
Yep, especially
And
someone
in
with that.
their RFP, they said they wanted a superintendent with 5 years experience, no less. Well, Jimmy's got 20 plus, and so doesn't Tommy. So
Yep.
they're getting their bang for their buck with those guys. They'd be foolish not to keep them, do whatever it takes to keep them.
Yep.
You know, which they'll probably make more money, but their bennies are shorter than the town. So, I mean, you know, it's a nasty feeling. Those guys saw it coming. They've been thinking. I had a pretty heated discussion going back a couple of months, and it's an awful feeling, but you just don't know, and you have to move on, and they'll make decisions based on what they hear from this company tomorrow.
Charlie, you have broad shoulders to summarize that the way it is, with all that you've given for this town and extra, not paid services. And they're gonna have, this town is looking to save money by hiring or making some money by hiring a group to come in and run the golf course. They're gonna end up hiring 4 people to do what you did with one job.
Well,
It's a shame.
it's nice. It's
my
nice that
heart
people think
breaks.
that, and
Huh?
I also got paid. I did get paid to do my job. I chose to do it the way I did because that was my passion. The sad part about this whole thing, and I had a couple different discussions with different people that are on the outside of the golf course, is that your life works around your work. In other words, everything evolves around your work and your life. And you know what, Tommy, Jimmy, you're in business for yourselves. Mike, the same with you. All those years that you were out working. And it's just, that's the way it is. So when you get to the end and you have something to show for it, you got a good feeling. But when something like this happens to those guys, I'm done. Okay. But those guys, they've been there 20, 22 years. It's a hard feeling. And it's an awful feeling. And I feel bad for them. But, maybe this will be a good thing for them. I don't know.
I'm gonna hope and pray for them, Charlie. And I mean,
Yeah,
pray,
I
because
know.
they're all good guys.
They are good guys, and they went the extra effort.
They
in the
never,
lean times.
when a well went down, they didn't leave at 5:30 in the afternoon. If you have a management company in there and a well goes down, they'll just call some well company in, and whatever is the best for them, not really concerned for the town. You might find out that they shortchange the town sometimes, not like you guys.
Well, and that might be true, Mike. Might be true.
Yeah. I wish all the people that did all the help for the town and the golf course and like Charlie and everything, they weren't so nice, because I wouldn't have been sucking into doing so much. No,
Mike, you
But
said
they were
about
horrible.
me, but there's a lot of guys that were very angry with the town, especially after the clubhouse situation. But, those guys still are helping and still being involved. There might be a few less, but I still have faith in people, and there's people that you can always call to ask to help out in a minute, and those people are going to do that. Then there's people.
Who are those people, Charlie?
Yeah, well, there's a few in this phone call, that's for sure. But it's just one of those things. Nobody can predict the future. In 5 years from now, this might be the best thing that ever happened. I
Let's
don't
hope
know.
and pray.
I really don't. I just want those guys to get taken care of, and we'll see what happens.
Hey, Charlie, can I ask you, what's the history? Is it, do they just do Falmouth? What
No,
other
I think what they did, Tommy, was, Indigo bought out Casper. But Indigo was a subsidiary of Troon. Now, Troon has different levels. Troon is all over the world. They're in these finest golf courses and hotels and everything like that. They run the whole schmeal. They have different levels, all these different. And from what I understand, the Indigo one is going to be one that's handling public courses, more towards municipalities. I'll get probably a better feel tomorrow when I talk to these guys. But that's what I was told. So
They opened an office in Newton, so I have a feeling they're planning on buying quite a few, getting in quite a few up in this area. They're mainly out of True North. They're mainly out of Arizona, I think. And
right.
But
but they're
you
all
can
over
buy
the
a
world.
True. You can buy a True Prime thing, and you can play in all the True golf courses all over the world.
Yeah. So, the main company, it's huge. How this comes down to the newer, smaller companies, we'll find out. They're a management company. They know how to, they know figures, and I imagine they look at everything, and they look at otherwise I don't think they would have kind of come after us. So, in the past, we were never in the situation. The 2 different times they came in and looked at us with our debt and everything and said, there's no way, these guys are doing an unbelievable job with what they have. So in some ways, maybe, like I said, maybe the maintenance budget might increase a little bit more to do some things. I don't know all that. I think we'll find out in the future, but how it is right now, we don't know that. You know, it's just one of those things. And, you know,
That goes back, I remember Troy Clarkson mentioning them. Because he
yeah,
knew
but
him
this
from
was,
helmet.
and Billy Casper was different, you know?
I know.
Billy Casper was a whole different outfit, you know?
They
And
bought it for a good price. You know what I mean? Did Casper have other ones up here too?
not Casper, Casper's all done, I think.
Casper's
okay.
done.
Okay,
And
Jimmy,
Falmouth cost $15.8 million for the land. It's a little different.
okay,
And they have 27 holes.
Well,
So
look
when
what
they
you are,
close-
Tom, in Sandwich.
yep,
You know,
When-
the
Yep.
town, the golf course, Joe Felicetti told me that. He said he pays taxes, and he says the town pays more than what we ever paid. You know what
Round
I'm
here.
saying? I forget
Yep.
exactly his words, but because I remember Joe asking us, "You guys, what do you guys do?" No, we covered the land. We covered the whole note. In that note, everything. And it's different in Sandwich. I don't know how that's being run now, whether it's a profit or not, I don't know. But
no, it's,
I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go.
I was just trying to get a history on the golf course, but I mean, on the new company who they want to put in. But you did a good job explaining it.
Yeah,
Sad.
that's how it was explained to me, you know?
Yep. It's a sad day.
I you know, I don't know what else to say. I always want to be on the positive side with that. But when you have such a lengthy history, like a lot of us do there, it's hard. And it's hard to fathom sometimes. And yet, when Tony explains it, when Mike explained everything and how they looked at it and what they're doing, I think it makes sense, to be honest with you, from the town standpoint, whether you like it or not, and whether we really know everything, I don't know, but I think they're probably doing their due diligence and looking at everything and figuring what it would cost us in the next 5 years in added employees, which, you know, I know everything gets paid out of the enterprise fund, so it's not like it's affecting the town budget, but they got to pay people. So I don't know. I'm going to go with them on this, you know, unless I see something different with the guys and the people up there, how they get treated. But I think it's a good course. It can get better. And I think with maybe some more guidance up there, that it will be better. That's all I guess I can say.
Wow.
That's all I can say is the town was blessed to have you as an employee looking out for everyone, Charlie, and thanks a million.
Well, if all you people that are involved, if you didn't have kids or you had nieces or nephews and all involved, that's why you got involved with recreation, because it's a good thing. 99%, we've always said this, 99% of what we do, you know, is a good thing. And I believe that, and we all had a passion. We wanted to make things good. So I think
Yeah,
we
but
did a good job.
Charlie,
You know, all
the
of you
passion,
guys.
Charlie, the passion is leaving us all. We're very frustrated, as every single committee in the town is frustrated with the way this town government is. It was sold to us that it was going to be helpful for everyone. It stinks. No one knows at all what's going on in this government.
Yeah,
It's like
It's
a
the
mayor
biggest
that's never
complaint
been
I've heard.
elected. Huh?
that's the biggest complaint I've heard
The
by a lot of people.
Does the money that go from leasing out a piece of property on recreation, will that money go into the enterprise fund? Because it is.
I'll put it this way, what they've said to us, and one of the main reasons is that they envision some of this money to be used to funnel towards recreation. That's what the word I was told.
That will be surprising to see.
That's what they
Well,
say to.
What's that?
Mike, the money won't get funneled to the rec.
Well, we'll
Yeah.
see.
They say a
You'll see.
lot of to us. We've been told a lot of things, Charlie. Think over the years how many things we heard.
Oh, I know.
Jesus.
All righty. This is probably a conversation we'll probably carry on. That's the bad part about Zoom meetings. You can't Zoom a Barrett's for a pizza and a beer.
No, and listen, there's a reason why I was told, I asked that at that meeting, whether the golf commission and the recreation commission were going to be notified. And they told me they were, that you people would be notified.
When
Now,
next year?
the other day when I talked to you, Mike, I assumed that conversation was going to have to do with the golf course and the management company. But I also, and again, maybe they're waiting, but there was no need to wait any longer with us because we knew what was going on. But I asked that question specifically, that if you guys were going to be notified, and he told me yes.
No, it's
And
funny. I talked to two of the town councilors and they said they knew nothing about an RFP being accepted or anything. Or negotiated.
I talked to one who
So-
said that he didn't recall, but he was going to look it up, but the council has to vote or at least be notified that an RFP is going out. And he didn't remember, or didn't think that they had even heard of the RFP for the golf course, but said he'd have to look back and see if maybe
Well,
he just didn't remember.
Yeah, like I said before, I asked that question specifically if town council has to approve a management contract, and they said no.
Right, but according to the counselor I spoke to, that they need to be at least notified that a RFP of that caliber is going out.
Well,
But that's something not for us to
yeah,
decide,
exactly,
but,
exactly. Hey,
Well,
before we go on, there is something in new business I wanted to bring up about a permit. So I don't know when you wanted, but I just don't want to forget that.
Let's
Fire
do it.
away.
Fire away.
Okay, so I was approached by an email at first, and then a couple phone conversations about someone that would like to use our facility, basically the football field, in the spring. At least that's what the original discussion was about, from like April, May, and part of June, on a Saturday late in the day for flag football. So I explained in my first email to the guy, I basically said, we're jammed up there. Even the little kids use the football field, blah, blah, blah. It is an outside group. And then he is a resident of Bridgewater. So I finally did call him and had a discussion, and I had a really good discussion with him. And he seems like a real good guy. He's interested in getting flag football into town. And again, in the last year or so with COVID, the Bridgewater youth football has indeed done some workouts, what they call workouts, but it's basically flag football, no pads, that kind of stuff. So I had a good conversation with him. And then I also asked him if he would like to have a conversation with the head of youth football, because no matter what, whether there's a lot of parents that aren't having their kids play right now because of the concussion, never mind COVID, but the concussion issues that came up. So in my mind, I know Marshfield, one of the guys that used to be a rep for still is a rep for a company, a chemical company at the golf course. His son played for Marshfield and then at BC. And he told me, because he was involved in youth football, that Marshfield had like 600-700 kids in the flag program. So Marshfield's a heavy duty football community. And so I mentioned this to him, and he says, absolutely they are. And he said, my group is from Newton. He's been up there, but he wanted to get down in this area. He lives in Bridgewater now. So anyway, when I had that conversation with him, he said, oh, I'd love to. But I said, let me do this. Let me talk to, before you come to the rec commission or they give you approval for this, I would like you to talk to this guy if he's willing to talk to you. So I did. I talked to the person that's the head of youth football, and we had a nice discussion. And he said, absolutely, I'd like to talk to the guy. And I'd absolutely like him to come to a meeting. And I said, well, I won't tell him that. You can tell him that when you have a discussion with him. And you can go back and forth and ask your questions and do whatever. And if that's the case, then you can come. And I told this gentleman that's applying for it, I said, if that's the case and you come some sort of an agreement, I think it would mean more to the rec commission if Bridgewater Youth Football were in support of this, and that some of their coaches, which this guy had mentioned to me, we'd love to have them help out and coach, you know. So where they're doing a similar thing, maybe not as involved as this guy wants it to be, that it would be a good thing. So that conversation might have taken place, but I have not heard back, and I will. So before the next meeting, I would think, or whether it's next meeting or March, either that guy will come and discuss it, and you can decide what you think about that. But he was looking to use the football, probably have 4 games at once, going side to side instead of the long way, for 2-3 hours on a Saturday, late Saturday type thing. So
What age kids, Charlie? What age?
well, it's probably all different ages, young kids going up to before high school, obviously, I think. So, you know, I didn't get into it with age groups, but he was talking kids, you know, and
Yeah.
a lot of kids in the youth football age, you know, probably 8,
Right.
10 up, you know.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
so
what it does.
you know, I think it's something where we don't do a lot of programs anymore. It might be one that's actually beneficial. And I think there's a lot of kids that even if they play tackle football, they would still be interested in playing flag in the spring.
Sure.
Charlie, I'll tell you, I agree with you. I think it's the real young ones too. You know, that age that parents get a little quirky about saying, you know, my kid's only in, I don't know what grade they start, 4th grade, 5th grade.
Oh,
And it says,
they're
you know
pretty
what?
young.
What's that?
They're pretty young.
Yeah, I know.
Second grade, I think.
I want my kid to get hurt. It'd be an idea stepping stone too for the old, you know, the older grade may not want to play.
Yes. Yeah. So
I think it's
I think it's kind of a good idea, and you know, it's something that it would be really good if the guys from Badgers, you know, got involved with it.
Right.
Yep.
My
Agree on that?
I think it's great. My grandson plays in Duxbury. They have tons of teams. He's 11.
Do they have
play on?
football?
If
Do they
you
have
go down
tackle?
on
That's
Saturday
very-
morning, if you go down
Does he-
Saturday morning, there's like 8 games at once going on.
Yeah. Does he play tackle?
No flag.
Yeah, but I mean, in the fall, does he play tackle?
No,
Yeah,
I
see,
don't.
it's pretty much up and coming because of all this, you know, CTE and all that stuff that's happened, you know.
It's
So
big.
at first, you know, I know we're jammed for space and all that, and that's my concern, because that's a zoo down there on a Saturday and all this, and then afterwards we talked, you saying, well, I wanted to do it in the fall. I says, there's no way in hell you're gonna come anywhere near this place in the fall. It's just so jammed. But anyway, it was a good discussion, and I'm glad I didn't toss the guy out, you know, and just let it go with that. I thought about it more, and I said, I'll call this guy, and you know, he sounded real good. He lives in town. He wants to, so I said, let him talk to youth football and see what they can come up with, and then they'll come to you guys for a permit.
I think that's the best decision you could make, Charlie, connecting them with youth football.
It makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
I think
Absolutely.
even Big Head would agree with that. I know he's not present right now, but
Yeah. No, yeah, it was much easier saying it to him that
No,
way.
I'll give him the recording in the morning, Charlie.
Remember, it's
Alright.
posted on the town website.
yeah. So that's all I have from my end.
Anyone else have any?
I see, Brooke, you took it upon yourself to include me in your next meeting.
She misses you, Charlie.
Is she alive?
Brooke, you're
Oh.
muted.
Brooke, you're muted.
We can't read lips, Brooke.
Charlie muted you.
Did
Did I
you hear what I had to say?
Yeah, did I? Oh, well,
Did I? Yeah,
I can't,
okay.
I can't live without you, Charlie.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to come in. Brooke, I spent last week, actually, it took me maybe 2 hours to unload all my personal items in one box. And then I got ruthless and I tore
One
apart the
box.
office and got rid of stuff that we didn't need to have. But I need you to come in and go through the file cabinets with me and clean those out.
Don't you touch any of my stuff.
I know you
And,
do.
and while you're there, can you guys write the pickleball court report?
Yes, that's the idea, Gina. And that's Brooke's been assigned for that duty with me there. So
Sounds
So-
good.
Brooke,
Charlie, yes.
okay?
Yep.
I know I'm giving you a little leeway here. Okay?
Like you've always done.
This doesn't need to be March 1st, because I might not be here on March 1st, okay?
Oh,
So
come on, Charlie. Come on.
I might just disappear. So anyway, my point is, Brooke, get your secretary to call my secretary and set up a meeting.
Hey, Charlie, can I ask you?
Oh, your
Is-
girl.
Is
Or
Pepsi
the
coming
correct
back?
term is administrative assistant.
Charlie,
Charlie, you know what? It's sad. It's a sad day. You know, I think about myself, maybe Jimmy too. When we first got on, it was Joe Lazaro. We had Joe for how many years? 5, 6 years before he retired?
He retired in '89.
89. Okay. So 2 years before he retired. I think I got on the board in 87. And then we had Tufsy for how long?
4 till
Four.
1990, little more than 4.5.
Is he coming back? He said,
He wants to.
He can't fit through the door.
right? It's gonna be
Wow.
posted on the town website.
Being recorded.
Charlie,
I
before
just,
we
yeah,
hang up here-
just remember, as
Charlie.
Brooke said, that this is recorded and posted on the town's.
Okay.
Yep.
no, we'll not say anything. No,
Charlie.
it's all fun.
Yes.
Yeah, you said Ventura. Who's the person that wants to do the? You said Chris, is it?
No,
Russ.
Russ.
That's
Right.
his wife.
Chris's
is
wife. Yeah,
Chris
I
Zenovich.
just
Yep,
remember
yep.
the name. Yeah, can any way I can get hold of him before this
Yes.
meeting a month from now or whatever?
Yes.
Yeah, Jimmy, I can send you a number to text him at or email.
Yep, I
As I
would
said
say-
to you before, he was a tennis pro.
He actually helped me for a year or two as a volunteer,
Was he really?
Yeah, I remember that.
way back.
I remember. Yep, I
And then
remember
they
you
moved
did.
away for a while. And then they came back.
Yep, it went up to Maine,
Is he on Worcester
So-
Street or a different one?
Worcester.
I have
Worcester
a,
So
Street, right?
Oh, Leonard. Leonard Street.
Leonard
Leonard
Street.
Street, yeah.
yeah, hang on. I'm gonna try to do this and, cause Emily Williams sent me a
Email.
email, thank you,
You're
with his save application, and I actually made a copy and it's in my office. So if I can't pull it up right now, I will, I can give you his number. I'm looking. Yes, here it is right now. So I told her that it would be good, and let me see. It would be good if you got him involved. Yes. You want me to give you the number right now?
Well, if you want anyone that goes on the website to get it, yeah. If not, you can
Well-
text it to me.
I'll give it to you now.
Okay,
508
1 second. Okay,
508
yep,
245
Yep.
9456. So I just thought that would be a really good way of at least getting somebody into the system to help out. And you guys can determine whatever you want them to do.
I got you. Now, my other question is, has there been any talk about charging someone to run a league up there 3 days a week or whatever, like they do at Edgewood or?
Charging? What do you mean? Paying somebody?
No. I'm talking about the people that come to play, like every other place they play at down Lakeville or anywhere. They charge an amount, someone runs the league. And then whatever, it's like the, any other league, you know, they have to
Yeah, I
pay.
get it. No, nothing has been said from anybody to
'Cause
me about that.
I contact the people about running a league down there unless they have a base figure to go off of. You know, I have an idea what it should be. I talked to the guy at Edgewood and all the other places, you know, about, you know, whether or not we should charge, what we should charge, whatever.
Yep, I did run that by the town manager when I
Yeah.
talked to him last week that you guys were gonna meet with a group and then come up with a plan about what you would charge or not charge, or, you know, how you want to do it. And I explained to him that I had talked to my sister-in-law in Yarmouth, and she's involved in one, and they pay a fee for the whole year, and they get, you know, priority from like 8:30 to 11:30 every day, 6 days a week. And then
Yeah.
after that, it's for anybody, and they pay a fee. And, you know, I don't know how they do it. I didn't get into it with her, you know, whether you send a check or you know, however,
Yeah.
or what the amount is. But,
Well, I don't have a problem with the problem I have is telling them something, and then I always, when I tell them how much I think it's gonna cost, you know, to the town, whatever, I always end it with, well, we're not in charge of that. You have to talk to the town manager. Well, I'm not being funny.
no, I'm not,
Jimmy,
but
why don't
I
we
get
start?
what you're saying.
You know, I don't think this year's a big year because you have balls, you have a court, you have nets, you have everything. But you do want to set it up so that 3 years from now you can buy a net or something, right?
That would be the idea,
So, okay.
you know,
I
whether
think we
you
should.
talk, whether you
Go ahead,
talk to
Jeff.
whether you talk to the finance director about that, or you, you know, as far as setting up a special account,
Yeah.
which I'm quite sure could happen. You know,
Okay.
it's just a matter of once you guys determine what you want, and then you set it up. And I'm quite sure Brad could, the IT guy could work on how you're going to go about collecting the money and things like that. If you know, however that works, I don't know. That's way over my.
Yeah, I think in other towns and everything, it's one flat, one payment, and they collect the money from the people because they keep some of it because they buy balls and they
Yeah,
run other things. You know, it's
Yeah,
sort of like I say, it's sort of like the softball league or something, you know.
yeah. So you
And
know,
then they turn them out and that's it.
well, it all comes down to how you guys want to handle that. If you want
Okay.
to have the new superintendent, if this group comes and says, "Hey, we would like to get 100 more balls or something," and then the town, then the rec superintendent goes and orders it, and their money is not in the pickleball people's hands; it's in the town's hands, and everything goes through that. I think that probably makes more sense to me. And then if that group, if there's 4 or 5 people involved, they get a hold of you guys or whoever takes my job and works it out.
Yeah. Well, like you say, the other play, it usually gets complicated because people they do a lot of things. So,
Well,
all
Jimmy,
right,
if you,
I'll talk to them first.
I'm around, and if before next week's meeting, if you have a couple of those guys you want to sit down and have a cup of coffee somewhere, just let me know.
All right, let me
And,
talk to
you know, if
Russ and see what he has in mind.
Yeah,
All
Jimmy,
right.
know, and then
I
there's a
agree with you,
couple of
Jim
these
and
other guys.
Charlie. I think we've got to be proactive. Otherwise, the town will just take it and just say, "Well, you listen, no one's done anything, so now we
Yeah.
just take it over."
I
So
agree.
I agree. Let's just be proactive and just start sitting down and talking.
Yeah, it goes
Okay.
by quick, you know.
Well,
Yep,
yeah,
it does.
and the problem is if there's 0, then everyone from everywhere will come, and there'll be so many people, no one will play.
Yeah,
Yep.
you
It
gotta
has
get
have
that.
to be something in the middle somewhere. You know, it has to be worth. You know, over in Edgewood, if you played over there all the times you could have played, it came down on like a $2 a day or something, which I think is well worth it. So, all right, that's it. I'm done.
Any, Anyone have a public comment or anything?
Yeah,
listen,
I just
wanna
like
thank-
to. Oh, go ahead, Jim.
I want to thank Charlie for how many years is this, Charlie? We've been together.
28.
28 years. It's really sad even thinking about it that you'll be, 28 years we've been together. And you've been an amazing asset to the town. The town is going to miss you like no one has ever missed. You've been the rock. You're the guy who makes it all happen. You're the as I said before, you're the glue that made everything work. I'm just saddened that you're leaving, and I'm happy, you're leaving, and you're in fairly good health. But we're gonna miss you, Charlie. I'm gonna miss you personally, just knowing that you're not there anymore. It's it's hard. Like you're going like, man.
I know. I felt that way with you guys. I mean, for years and years, good times and bad. I mean, we've always been there, and we could always talk and argue, and afterwards, sit down and have a beer somewhere or whatever. But and that hopefully won't go away.
Charlie,
but
can I still call you twice a week?
Please.
Can I still leave you messages?
No.
You don't
but I
return?
won't return them. Oh,
Well,
by
you
the
don't
way,
return, you don't return them now, Charlie.
that's my point. However, I will have this same phone number, my same phone number, but I will have a different email address that none of you are getting.
Could you send it on to us,
I might,
please?
maybe.
Okay.
I might.
Hey, Brooke, is this kind of like a
Fucking hard
divorce?
to get.
Brooke, it's like a divorce, isn't it?
It is a divorce.
Oh, my
Yeah.
Lord.
I'd like
It's a
to,
cheap one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I have to say this, Charlie, I agree with everything Tommy said, but Brooke, you've always been a great person to deal with too. You're a fantastic lady.
Absolutely.
Well,
Talk about the glue.
The straw that's,
Yeah.
the straw that steers the drink.
Yeah, there you go.
That what
If he
Herman-
doesn't drink it, at least
That's
not
what
public.
Munson said.
Hey, Campbell, you've been a wealth of knowledge, believe me. You know every step along the way for a long time.
No, and
Yeah.
that's what's good about you guys. You all bring a different perspective. And when you think about it, all the different things over the years, it's gone by real fast, especially the last 10 years, God almighty. But, we've all had families grow up and nieces and grandkids now and all the nephews and all that kind of stuff. And, it's just been really, I just can't believe, and like I told you, someone said to me the other day, we get so involved in our work that our lives revolve around our work. And next thing you know, they'll get somebody else in and they'll say, who is that guy? I mean,
never.
so yeah. I appreciate all the good things.
They replaced Kennedy. They replaced JFK in about 10 minutes, but they still remember him.
Yeah. Well,
Mhm.
Replace you quick enough, but that don't mean they don't remember you. You remember Joe Lazaro, don't you?
oh, since I was a kid.
Yeah.
We all remember him.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
remember you, Charlie.
I don't know. We'll see.
We can't forget you, Charlie.
Some days you wish you did.
Well, true, but not often. Not
Yeah.
often.
Well,
I'd like to reiterate what the others said too, that it's not going to be the same without you. And as I said before, you do everything outstandingly.
well, you know
Wish
what?
you weren't leaving, but I understand the retirement thing. And, somebody
the
said
only-
you're healthy and you're still young. Heck, if
Yeah.
you're young, that means I'm still young.
The
But-
thing I can say about that is that, you might be pleasantly surprised with new blood and all that kind of stuff. So,
True.
I've been stubborn
True.
in a lot of ways too. So, and it might be a good thing. It's always good when you get new blood. Hopefully it'll work out. That's all.
Yep. And I just want to say I wish you the best always. And
Thank
I
you.
hope you come back and visit our meetings now and then.
Oh my God.
Never.
Yeah,
He will
I
never
can't.
show up for these meetings.
I won't because I'm not a Bridgewater
Alrighty.
resident.
Well, you can come to the
Bridgewater
meetings.
resident,
You
man.
just can't comment.
Charlie,
I
if
can
it
tell you, I
wasn't-
will not be on another Zoom meeting, that's for sure.
Charlie,
I hope
It's like
these go
building the
away.
team.
let's get together and build a golf course in Middleborough.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
Oh,
good.
Hey,
Oh,
No
God.
band concerts, Charlie, no band concerts, no
Oh,
snowball, softball
Yep.
tournament. Boy, did we do some great, think about
Yeah.
those. We had
no,
some,
really.
think about
Absolutely.
snowball tournaments. God.
I took a
People
picture down
walking
the
off
other
the
day of one of those. It was awesome.
Oh, did
Will
you?
there still be, will
Yeah,
there
there
still
was
be
one
a
I had
third?
up on the wall, and I took that down, put it in my box.
Jesus, was that the one that guys threatened to kill me?
Yes.
I made a bad call. Never.
In fact, we had a
I-
video
I-
of that.
I, my
If we only did.
suggestion is that we can continue to reminisce, but we should adjourn the meeting and stop taping.
Right.
Just a thought.
All right, I thought we were done.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
You need to
Motion.
set your next meeting date.
Oh,
Next
okay.
meeting date,
Well, next week.
No, it's March what?
it should be March 7th, but we
March
will be
7th.
without Charlie.
I thought
What
you,
do we have
yes.
next week?
Oh, I thought you had it next week with the pickleball
No,
people.
next month. Next
Oh.
month.
Well, you
Next month
definitely-
with
We definitely
Emily.
got to meet with them beforehand, Jim.
Are you retiring March 2nd?
Yes.
That's my
I make a
official
motion,
date.
We have the meeting March 1st.
Yes,
No.
let's do it.
That's not a Monday. It's not the first Monday.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What,
Let's have
what
it-
day is March 1st on?
Tuesday.
I'm
March
kidding.
2nd is a
kidding,
Wednesday. March 1st is a Tuesday.
I'm kidding.
Okay,
I
we
started
can
in March
meet
1st.
March 2nd. I can't meet March 1st unless it's,
It doesn't matter. You can meet by yourself because I'm not gonna be there. No,
okay.
but I'll definitely get together with Jim and hopefully we can hash out a lot of that stuff so that when you come to that meeting, you'll have some info, you know?
Yeah,
Mhm,
Because that
good.
should be, you know, just
Hey,
talk about that.
I'm coming
Yep.
back February 23rd for a couple of weeks, so maybe I can meet with you guys in that meeting too, Jimmy.
Okay.
I thought Emily told me the date I was going to Florida was February 24th.
I don't know what you two worked out, but I hope you have a great time.
Right. Okay,
Uh-oh.
I motion to adjourn.
Second,
Seconded. All in favor?
aye,
Ed
Uh,
Ca-
Holbrook,
Roll call vote, Mr. Riggi,
yep,
Mr. Campbell,
Yes.
Mr. Flaherty,
Yes.
Ms. Wasconi.
yes.
Roll call vote. It's a unanimous. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank
All
you.
right, Brooke, do
thanks,
me a
guys.
favor and you gotta
Okay.
close